You're listening to the G-Spot Podcast with Bri
and Alex,
where we dive into personal growth, lifestyle, relationships, and everything in between.
Chill with us every Wednesday for good vibes and real talk.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the G-Spot.
Welcome back.
We are in person today.
We are in person. Also, I just want to say that this is officially our 58th attempt at trying to record this one episode.
Literally
2 days in the making.
Oh,
it's been rough, man. It's been
technical
rough.
difficulties up the ass,
to say the least.
Yeah,
but here we are, committed to you,
our listeners. We love you
for real. Yep. And we just hit just a little over 300 plays.
Yeah,
so
300
cool.
plays. Let's go. We appreciate everyone who's been sending us really sweet messages, that y'all are actually listening and enjoying our podcast. We super appreciate it. We love the love. And, of course, if y'all have any questions, feel free to follow us on our G-Spot Instagram. And you can go ahead and submit questions, comments there, suggestions. Yeah, so, big celebration. So, whoop whoop. So
you have a big trip kind of coming up.
Yeah, we might go, now I know it's maybe tomorrow to San Antonio, and then we're still probably going to Houston. So we might want to just go chill in San Antonio and then go straight to Houston. So we're doing that, and in that case I would need to pack ASAP. So that kind of sucks.
Do you still have laundry and stuff to do? That's the worst.
You know what? I didn't hang it up because that's the worst task for me. I hate hanging up
laundry.
Oh my gosh.
Literally,
it's the worst.
Literally the same.
It's literally the worst.
I hate laundry.
It's the freaking worst. I'm not going to hang it up. It can sit there for a week.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what? That probably applies to the topic that we're talking about today.
Oh my god.
Which, by the way.
Yes, it does. Look how we brought this back.
Yeah.
Full circle.
So after we discuss what's the cue, we're going to get into a discussion in which we are talking about how to kind of just get into
active mode.
Yeah, active mode. Put yourself in an active mode when you're trying to achieve a goal. Because how many times have we just sat there and been like, it'd be nice if I did this. Yeah, maybe I'll start tomorrow.
A lot of thinking, no action.
Thinking, no action, boom. And so that's what we're talking about today. It is called the 5-second rule. And we'll be getting into that. And stick around for food for thought at the end. So we appreciate ya.
All right, so let's jump into the cue.
Let's do it.
What's the cue?
Let's do it.
This one is coming actually from a listener of ours. His question was, is it better to find somebody in your own area, or should you venture out of your town to find somebody to date, basically?
And what are your thoughts on that, man?
I guess I can go both ways on this. I totally see the appeal of both sides. Especially if you're from this, the town you grew up in, a lot of the people. I could see if maybe that might be a good option would be to venture out and maybe go on dating websites.
Yeah.
A lot of people have success on that, even though it's kind of frowned upon. I mean, is it still frowned upon? Or is
honestly,
that not a thing anymore?
So, I mean, it's just so, you just have to be careful. You have to be careful. People get catfished all the time. People get scammed.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful. You're not just gonna
especially long distance.
Yes. So you just have to, listen, pay attention to the red flags. As soon as you see something that's weird, it feels off, it probably is off. So you have to be careful with that when you're doing the online dating thing. Because it's cool. Do it.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Go, do you.
Do a little research, maybe, on that person. Also, you know what's actually weird? In the past, I want to say, a few days or so, maybe, a week or two people have told me that they've met somebody through Instagram.
What?
Yeah, I'm going on a date with this person. I met them on Instagram.
You know what? I've seen Twitter love.
What?
Too. Yeah. So it happens with Twitter as well. So, it's possible, guys. It is possible. And see, I was going to say, my answer was going to be more or less stick to in-person meetups. Like, maybe...
If you're new to the dating scene, for sure, stick to, like, local, just to, like, you know...
Honestly, get your social... for people. Get your social skills back, because I know I lost some of mine during quarantine.
Oh my gosh.
So it'd be some good practice to, like, talk.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would recommend that.
Yeah.
And then if you're really not finding someone in your local area, or, like, you know, it's just not working out, then go online. But I feel like maybe search in person first.
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, I need to, like, broaden my horizons now, and I'm not finding shit.
Yeah. Put
then
yourself
there you
out
go.
there.
And, by the way, it's so important. If you're doing online dating, you don't have to approach it as dating at first. Like, join some groups that you have interests in. Like a hiking group. People that go hiking together.
Absolutely.
Or people that share tips about hiking. So, you need to narrow down, like, what are your interests? What are you into? That's already going to give you a step ahead in, like, talking about something. You have something in common with somebody at that point. So do that, and, you know, if you're searching online and stuff, join some groups. Like, just connect yourself.
For sure.
Connect yourself, because it's so important to do that.
Well, that pretty much answers that, I feel like.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question.
Honestly, so this one listener, he seems pretty consistent. He's always super supportive, so shout out to that guy.
Shout out.
You know who you are if you're listening to this episode.
Shout out. I don't know if you're comfortable with me saying your handle, but thank you. You know who you are.
Yeah,
thank
for
you.
sure.
We appreciate it. As beginner podcasters.
For sure.
So, all right. Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Let's get into it. Okay. So, the topic today is really just about how important it is for you just to begin a goal, even if it's a small goal. If it's just a small step in the right direction to what your big goal is, you know what I mean? Starting is important.
Just start.
Just starting.
Just start. Because you know what happens, and we've all done this. You, like I said in the beginning, you're sitting there and you're wondering, I should do this maybe one day. But you're waiting for the right time.
Or you say, you know what, I'm going to do this. And then you make some excuse in your head for putting it off.
Yep.
Either or just altogether not doing it
like
at all. You talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, we talk ourselves out of it. We do self-sabotage.
Yeah,
you know,
all the
it
time.
sucks that we do this. Like, as humans, the understanding going into this discussion is that we as humans, we don't want to do shit. We want to sleep all day and eat and, like, chill
lazy.
out. We want to be lazy. Like, all of us want to do that. And that's okay. Like, to feel that way, because we all feel that way. We have to really force ourselves to put our goals into action. You have to realize that it doesn't come from motivation. It comes from consistency and, like, taking some sort of control over your mindset, and that's what we're getting into.
Yeah, just learning how to parent yourself and parent your thoughts, and just, you have to be your own person that kind of, like,
yeah, no one's
pushes
coming for you
forward. No one is going to say, okay, today's the day you're going to start, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. It's just, it's not going to happen.
And you know what? Where I think it might start, too? We're in school most of our freaking lives, like at the beginning of our lives, at least.
Totally.
And we're used to people directing us. They're telling us what to do. Okay, it's lunchtime. Okay, it's time to do this assignment. All right, it's due. When there's no due date, when there's no start time, that's when you have to step in, and you are your own teacher. You're your own boss in that moment. You have to tell yourself what to do. You're the lazy part of yourself. It's like the one part of yourself that's the dreamer, that wants to get stuff done, telling your other part of yourself that wants to
get stuff done.
Wants to be a lazy piece of shit.
Right. And it's hard. And I
yeah, definitely.
I'm not...
It's so hard.
I will say, personally, I'm not coming at this as a person who is by any means like just a constant go-getter, and I always make sure I complete tasks. Like, I'm growing along with everybody. I feel like everybody kind of goes through this phase where
it's a journey.
It's exactly like
it's a journey.
No one wakes up and is like, I got it today, this is it. I think we all have a struggling point.
It's like working at it every single day. And so this 5-second rule that we're getting that we're talking about, that we're referring to, is the idea that you have 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to decide. Are you going to take an action towards what you want to do right now? And after those 5 seconds, that's it. That's all the time you have, because then at that point, your brain convinces yourself, your other side of yourself, nah, we don't need to do that.
To tune it out.
We don't need to do that today.
Right.
Nah, that can wait for tomorrow. And then, like, wait till, like, next month, whatever.
Right.
And then you never do it, right? So, and we all know that feeling. And so
the 5-second rule was originated from a published author. Her name is Mel Robbins.
So public speaker.
A public speaker. So she came up with the concept.
Mm-hmm. So Mel Robbins, and actually I had seen this speech from her a while back, and I was like, oh my god, this is like so cool, because she is so straightforward, and that's kind of how I am. Like, I'm a really straightforward person, and that's what I got from her. And I saw her on a TED Talk, and she was talking about the 5-second rule and how she started this kind of breakthrough. It was like a mini breakthrough for her. She thought it was stupid. Like, she thought it was stupid, like 5 seconds. What the hell is this?
Right.
Dumb. So, but she realized there's a lot of psychology behind it, and she was struggling in her life, and she realized that she couldn't even get out of bed in the morning, which is, it's very hard, even if you're in a good mind state, to get out of freaking bed. It's
honestly
hard.
Especially if you're feeling like you don't want to deal with whatever is about to come in your day. Like, if you just don't want to face the day, that depression can really, anxiety can really keep you in that bed. It can keep you postponing from taking action.
Yeah, and then that makes you, it's such a vicious cycle, because then you're not taking action, and then you get depressed because you didn't take action. So she created this because she was struggling in her life. She was failing at everything. You know, she felt like a loser, and she couldn't get out of bed, and she thought to herself, what if I just count down 5 seconds? Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm like a rocket ship. I'm going to go to freaking space right now, and I'm just going to launch out of bed, and I'm going to stand up on my feet and, like, feel the cold floor so I can wake up. So she did that. She tried it. And what happened was the fact that her mind could go back and focus kind of in, like, a meditative state, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're back in focus to what you're trying to achieve here. She was able to launch herself out of bed, and she practiced it day after day, and she realized how much it was working for her and how much she could apply it to every point in her life, not just getting out of bed. But that's a good start, though. But so then she went on with this breakthrough to, you know, write a book about it. She's been speaking about it. She's talked to psychologists, neuroscientists.
The 5-second rule.
Yes.
By Mel Robbins.
Yeah. And so basically, when I'm going to give an example. If you want to go to the gym, what's the first step? What would be your first step, Alex, if you want to go to the gym?
I guess it would be to,
You're
like and lay down. I guess, like, grab your tennis shoes.
Yeah,
or socks or something.
Yeah, there you go. Get your socks. That's 5 seconds to get the socks.
Yeah, and that's just, like, I guess like the science is, like, and it's important. So I heard that she said it's important to also, the 5 seconds cannot be 1 to 5. It actually has to be the countdown. So because you're counting backwards, your brain focuses more.
Oh, yeah.
And
more intensity.
Yeah, and it gets you in the mindset to, like, actually take action. So you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you do whatever it is that you have to do, like, whatever it is that you're going. So whether it's, like, getting out of bed, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out of bed. Instead of hitting that snooze button, you just get up.
Yeah.
If you are, it personally applies to me right now, as we were just talking about, doing laundry.
F that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
I need to fold those clothes.
Yeah.
Before the night's through.
Yeah, I need to apply the 5-second rule to the laundry.
For real. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up, grab the basket, dump it on wherever, your bed or whatever, and start folding. Yes.
And so, and back to the gym example, to have the bigger picture, 5 seconds to get the socks. That's another 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to get the shoes. And to get the clothes on, or clothes on and then shoes. And then getting into your car.
Right.
Okay? And then you're like, well, I'm in the car. I might as well just go there. Go to the gym.
Right.
I might as well drive there. I'm saying because this has happened to me because I started going to the gym.
Right.
And so this is like...
The 5
It's so hard to get out that door.
Yeah.
But you have to realize your goal. What is the goal here? Okay, I'm trying to lose weight for this thing. I have like a bridesmaid's dress that I want to like look better in. that's like the ultimate goal, right? Okay,
Yeah.
then these little 5 seconds matter. The thing is, and we have to realize this, is our life is composed of a bunch of little decisions, one after another.
Exactly. So you're just constantly forcing yourself
to make small decisions.
The decisions
small decisions
that are going to benefit you.
Yeah.
It's so simple. It's such a simple idea, but it's like, really, you have to relearn. You're just learning a new habit. You're relearning a habit. Instead of avoiding it, instead of being a procrastinator, you're choosing to take the action immediately.
Yeah. This is how, and honestly, she helped me start this podcast. I mean, I was like, okay, in these 5 seconds, I have to at least do an action towards a podcast, something. I have to look up a link. Like, look up, okay, podcasting sites. Then you took an action.
Yeah.
And then you could take another action. Okay, now choose a podcast site to go with. You know, so it's little steps like that. And this podcast wouldn't have been started if I wasn't even thinking of the 5-second rule, because it did help me a lot. It has helped me through multiple things that I wanted to do or, like, start. Thinking of them as small steps is, like, the only way. There's no way we can think of achieving this huge goal in one chunk.
Right.
No way. It's not possible.
Right.
You have to work hard, too.
And you have to, I think, just breaking it down in a way that's like bite-sized and doable is really what kind of gets you, before you know it, you're taking baby steps and you look back and you've walked a mile. Like you're going to point B.
Yeah, I literally don't even remember.
Rate, yeah.
I literally, like, regarding this podcast especially, I don't even remember doing that research to find the podcast site. I obviously did.
Yeah.
I obviously signed up.
Yeah.
I did all this work in the beginning. You don't even remember it.
Yeah.
You don't, like, even if it's, like, painful, whatever you're doing, if it's painful, if it's, like, super hard work, intense work, you don't remember it.
Yeah.
You're just enjoying you're reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
You're enjoying what you've already created for yourself or, like, going towards.
And so now, like, for instance, yourself, like, now the decisions that you're making is to be consistent. Once a week, you meet up. We meet up, we record, we edit, we do this, we do that. Like, we're constantly making the decision to, like, keep going.
Yeah, staying consistent.
Right.
And I know we all get lost, and myself included, when we compare ourselves to people and we think, wow, they achieved that so fast.
Yeah.
Oh, they achieved that so fast, and they're or, like, famous, or their podcast is huge, or their YouTube channel is huge. And you look back and you realize, no, that was years and years of hard work for most of them.
And tons of failures prior to that.
Yeah. It's a lot of testing and realizing that you're going to fail.
We just don't see that. They don't post that on social media.
Yeah. And so realizing that, too, like, one of the reasons why we shut down our goals and our dreams is because we think we can never do it. We can't do it. Someone else already did it. First of all, you haven't done it.
We downplay, I think we just, like, downplay how successful we could be. And I think
we do.
Honestly, like, for me anyways, sometimes I feel like, and this is going to sound, I don't know. I mean, I don't care how it sounds. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. Sometimes I think that what's holding me back, or what has held me back in the past, is actually not failing at something. It's, what if I'm successful
and you can't handle it?
And how do I keep it going?
Right.
Like, once I get to a point where I'm like, shit, I'm successful. Then what? Like, the unknown of, I don't even know.
No, that's such a valid point, because that's, like, such a big thing that, again, all of us go through.
What if I hit that high and a down is just about, like, that, like, it's scary.
It could be two extremes. It could be, I can never do it, and oh my God, what if I do it and I can't handle the success?
Right.
And you're scaring yourself out of both things, either way. Either direction. You're still not moving. Like, that's what you have to realize, that you're thinking up all these assumptions, all these things. And the first step, honestly, is, like,
have some self-confidence.
Especially if it's a creative goal. You know, like, I'm going to keep referencing this podcast. If it's a creative goal you have, then it's like, first of all, you cannot be comparing yourself to other people, because it took them probably years to get there.
Honestly.
And you're a beginner. You're going to suck at first, probably. And you have to accept the failure that might come from it.
Right.
And just be like, okay, I might fail. But it's my job to just be my creative self and put out what I want to put out despite the numbers.
Yeah.
Despite what people think, because I know we get so consumed on what other people think about us and our creative journeys, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it can shut you down. You know, a lot of YouTube channels, they're going to stop posting because they get 10 views. Not realizing that, you know, Mr. Beast, for example, huge YouTuber and gamer, he started at 0. Everyone starts at 0.
Right. Everybody starts from the beginning at some point.
Yeah, everyone starts from the beginning. And so just realizing that, really accepting it, taking it in, and being like, you know what, I'm probably going to fail. Cool. I'm going to get over that, though, and I'm just going to, like, keep going, keep posting. Because it's for the fun of it.
Right.
You know, if you're doing it just for the numbers, just for that, I would probably rethink it, because you're not going to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to think, are you enjoying, like, this creative endeavor? Okay, then keep going.
Yeah, is it genuine to who you are, too? Like, when you're doing, I mean, speaking of career goal settings, I think that's, like, my one advice. Well, I have tons of advice on it, but one of them is be genuine to who you are. Like, don't make it about the money necessarily, but is it who you are, and because other people are going to connect with it regardless, because you're being so genuine to your gifts. Yeah. People are going to connect, and those are your people. Like, it doesn't matter what so-and-so said because they didn't like it, or because, you know, they might not vibe with it. There are going to be so many other people that fuck with it, because those are your people. You're going to reach out to your people.
Like, the right people are going to find it.
Exactly.
The right people are going to find it. And that's just how you have to think about it. And, you know, I'm reading this other book. Well, I'm rereading it. I read it already because it's such a good book.
I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah. And so it's called Big Magic. And if you're a creative, I definitely recommend this book. It's called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. She's an amazing writer. Like I said, this is my second time reading it, and I'm very picky about my books. You know, I'm not I'm not reading a whole lot all the time. And I pick and choose my books, and that's one of the books that I will recommend for sure, especially for creatives, because the idea is, and it coincides with this 5-second rule, because how are you going to be creative if you cannot start? So just starting, and then enjoying that process of being creative and not comparing yourselves to others is going to ultimately boost your self-confidence as well. You can be like, oh, I'm doing it. Okay, I can do some more now. I can do some more. That's the hard part. That's the little hump that I think some people have to get over. It's like, okay, we're doing it now. We're kind of in like a little rhythm.
In a flow, yeah.
In a flow. And like I said, you just can't rely on motivation. Motivation is bullshit.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Motivation is bullshit.
So there are actually like 2 things I want to touch on. The first is, like, in response to that is, yeah, I agree with you. Motivation is really, really hard. A lot of people, and myself included, we wait for this moment, this aha moment, like the spark of an idea, and it's gonna change my whole world once I think of it, and once this
one idea,
this
one thing's gonna change my life.
That's my passion. This is my life's purpose. Or we're all waiting for that, like, special moment and that, like, motivation, and it doesn't happen like that. Like, it's just, there really isn't, like, a moment like that.
It doesn't exist. That the limit does not exist. No. No. Like, it doesn't exist. So let's just say that motivation is bullshit and it doesn't exist.
It's just about pulling the trigger on an idea.
Yeah, it's choosing something, because I know, Alex, we were talking about it, that we're so, like, we have so many random ideas.
So many.
We write, like, I have a notebook full of ideas of whatever, and I write them down because you never know when you're going to use them later. Right? Which it's important to write down all of your ideas, even if you think they're stupid. They're not stupid. They're not. Yeah. And just accept that an idea has come to your brain. Accept it and be grateful for it and write it down.
Right.
Don't be ashamed of it. And we tend to get lost in these long lists of ideas and aspirations and dreams. And we can't seem to pick one.
And we don't pick one.
Or we don't want to pick one because we think either I do all of them or we do none of them.
Right. Which one is going to lead me
which
happiness,
one's the one?
Which one's and it's so hard. I mean,
and here's the thing: is just taking that list and narrowing it down first, being like, what's realistic right now? What can I literally do? What can my first step be? And just start today?
How can my skills, like, be applied to that thing?
Yeah.
Or to that goal?
Yeah. Like, what skills do I actually have? Like, what can I apply right now or
Totally.
tomorrow? If I wanted to start, could I do it?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times that's going to be yes, if you've already narrowed down your skills and your abilities and your resources. You narrow that shit down, son. And you take a look at your list again and you're like, all right, let's just, you know what? I challenge you. Close your eyes and pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Close your eyes and be like, okay, I'm going with this one. And I'm going to research something.
And you know what? Chances are you already know what you want to do.
Yeah.
You already have an inkling. You've already thought about it. I mean...
Some of us just want to reject it because we're like, I'll never
we're
get
not
there.
ready for the work behind it.
Oh, that too.
That too, man.
That
too.
But,
I mean, changing your life is on you, and reaching your goals and really figuring out, you know, what you want your life to be and what you want it to look like is worth it. And if that means you getting your ass up and you following through on a business plan, if that means doing the research, if that means going to the gym, if that means doing the laundry, if that means just getting up every day at 8 a.m. on time.
Yeah. I consider it self-care.
Yeah.
I consider
100%.
I consider going towards your goal and your dream self-care.
Yeah.
Because that's building up your confidence and your work ethic. Mm-hmm. Work ethic is so important. Mm-hmm. And yes, obviously we need time to just downtime, relax, do nothing.
I know.
But, you know, a lot of us can get caught up in doing nothing and we forget why we're here, like on this earth. We forget the things that we actually want to do. And if you're confused on what you want to do, you have to look at who you look up to. Mm-hmm. Because... And
why do you admire them?
Yeah, why do you admire them? Why do you look up to that specific person or group of people? Why do you want to be like them?
Right.
What qualities do you want from them? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, that you want in your own life? And that'll give you a lot of insight on what you actually want, what your soul wants. Sometimes our brain doesn't connect with our soul. Mm-hmm. It's like aligning the two.
Yeah, exactly.
And listening to your gut.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's just like, it's whatever energizes you. Like whatever that thing is you're thinking of in your head, or if you do it already, like if you're doing a hobby or whatever, and maybe it's your life's purpose, maybe it's a calling, because when you do it, it's just your energy is like all positive when you're doing it.
Right.
You're focused.
Positive vibes.
You lose the time. You're in your zone. It feels good to be doing it.
Yeah.
And you're almost dedicated to that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee that's your calling. I guarantee that's your passion.
And you know what? I will say this. And it's not against your point. Mm-hmm. It's just it's a bit of a different take.
Yeah. Go.
So when you want, if you see something as like a meditative time, like, okay, playing music is like, you're in the zone, you're like in a meditative state, and you don't realize the time is passing by.
Right.
That could definitely be a passion, but just keep in tune with yourself and be careful, because we also need hobbies that aren't our jobs. Or our aspirations. Right. And I know this probably sounds like all complicated, like, whatever. But, you know, it's just good to separate what do you actually just want as a hobby. Like, what do you don't have to monetize that.
No, that's true.
You don't have to,
And I guess it just depends on you as a person, too.
Exactly. If you can see yourself, like, you know, picture yourself in, look at a day in a life of someone that you look up to. If you're a musician and you look at a day in a life of a musician and touring the world, and that is your thing, you're ready for that. Yes, go try it out.
Behind it,
I'll just say try it out, because why not?
Right.
Like literally, why not? You, if you assess that this is something, if you don't try it, you're gonna regret it in the future. That's the last thing you want. You don't want to live with regrets.
Just do it.
None of us want to live with regrets. No one's opinion will change me personally as well. Like, I'm stubborn. Even if I hear it from family or friends or whatever, and they're like giving opinions on what I'm doing or trying to do, I mean, I'm not hearing any of it. It's just like, why? It's my life. Like, why are you so concerned with what I'm doing? Like, be concerned about what you're doing. I could care less about what you say. And I'm just stubborn. But that confidence, I guess, quote unquote confidence, has just built up over time, realizing, you know, when things happen to you, like, when loved ones pass away or whatever, you realize life is
short.
I always say that, like, almost every episode, right?
Life is short, but it's also the longest thing you'll ever do.
It's long and short. It's long and short, but you want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, basically...
The time goes by fast.
You don't even want to think about it as, I don't know. Don't think about it as, like, a big rush to death or something.
Big rush to death. Death Rush.
Death Rush.
That sounds like a really good band.
T-shirts. Death Rush.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're a musician and you're hearing this, go start that band, Death Rush. I'm going to hear it.
We'll give you permission.
Yeah. We'll create your merch for you. Just give us permission. But, no, for realsies, it's important to...
Take that little voice in your head serious. Just start paying attention to the little tugs that you hear that you're completely ignoring, that you're choosing to not listen to. Mine will be, okay, you're going to get up early.
Yeah,
you're going to do this, you're going to do that.
When was, like, a time that you sat there and you had that moment? Like, first of all, I'll ask you, like, when was the time that you kind of thought you were going to, like, you were dreaming big, dreaming bigger, but then you didn't take action on that thing? And then also a time that you did take action.
Okay. So I have this friend, and him and I, one of the things we love to do is just to, like, get into these really great conversations about possible business ventures. And we would just talk all the time. Like, we had all these ideas. And we would talk about new business ideas we heard about or we came across, and we would just, like, dive into our own ideas. So on one of these occasions, I tell him, I was like, you know what would be so cool? Because I was single at the time, and I was on dating apps. And then I'd go on these dates, and I'm like, there's no spark. There's not a connection. Like, or I don't know. And I thought, it'd be really cool. Like, another way to, like, find, like, a dating, so I thought of an idea, like a dating app. Yeah. That was linked to your Spotify account. And it matched you to people that listened, against, like, age and all the other stuff that other apps have, plus the Spotify account. Like, if you had, like, similar interests or similar playlists or similar artists, then it would link you to that person. So I was like, oh my gosh, I love that idea. So we talked about it, and this bitch didn't take action.
Yeah, it was talk.
And I was like, gosh, what would that look like, if we were to get this app started? And it wasn't, like, a super serious, but it was kind of a dope idea.
Yeah.
So then a few months down the road at some point, gosh, I don't know how far down the road, maybe half a year or something. It didn't seem like too far. Anyways, so he was like, hey, did you read that new article on Bumble, which is a dating app? And I was like, no. And he was like, take a look at it. He sends me the article. Yeah. And they implemented that on their dating app, the Spotify link.
Course.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They did it a little bit different, but it was, like, pretty much the same concept.
Oh my gosh. And you know what? They talk about that in the freaking Big Magic book. Where ideas will come to you, and they're not yours unless you take action on them, and if you don't in time, someone else is going to have that idea. It's going to float. It's like little ideas are floating around the universe, and they're picking someone. It's like they're little creatures attaching themselves to humans. When you get a random idea, you're like, where the hell did that come from? Sometimes for me, it's in the shower, and I'm like, whoa, what? Yeah. And I'll have to, like, write something down. So those little moments of random ideas, those are, like, little gifts. Yeah. But sometimes they're not for you also. And sometimes you don't have to go forward with all the ideas that you have. But just realizing that these ideas are not technically yours because someone else will take them if you don't
take action on them. The idea, basically, the idea is that, like, these thoughts and these ideas, they're not, like you said, they're not ours. We are not our thoughts, or we're not our ideas. They're just floating around in air. Whoever it hits,
They're
and
just
whoever,
attached to themselves.
exactly. And then you only have like an X amount of time to take action regardless. And then once you don't take action, the idea moves on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And isn't that how it works? Like, I'm sure some of you listening have had these exact experiences. You're like, wow, this would be huge. This would be like a breakthrough.
I want to invent it. I want to invent this or something.
And then you see it happen and you're like, oh shit, that was my idea.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It is so weird how the universe works.
It really is.
And we're all so similar too, you know. But so yeah, it really has to do with the action, because all of us can have so many ideas and inspiration.
We all have the same 24 hours.
Yeah, we all. That's another huge thing. You know, like even me, I have to kick myself in the ass sometimes because I'm like, yo, I want to post on my YouTube channel, but it takes so long to like, you know, edit and then do all the outlines and stuff, and then with the podcast, right? But then I'm just talking myself out of it, right? Like, I'm saying it as a negative thing.
Yeah.
I could be excited about it instead of, I gotta do that.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to achieve this goal. It's just, like,
the work behind it.
The tasks seem to suck.
Yeah.
Well, with a full-time, you know, with having, like, a full-time job.
Multiple hobbies.
Multiple hobbies, doing stuff on the side, it can drive you a little crazy.
And your life in general.
Yeah.
But that is just one of the ways we talk ourselves out of it. That's just one of the ways we convince ourselves that we don't have the time.
Yeah.
Because we say these things.
Yep.
We're like, I have
like,
this. But we just did.
I can't do it. And the reality is you can do it. The last thing you want to do is overwork yourself. So there's a balance to it. But you will have to put in those hours to get yourself started, and probably not go to those gatherings as much as you want. When your friends call, you might not have the time to go out. But if they're your friends, they're gonna understand.
And I feel like the same concept applies like when you date someone and people say like, oh, like if he mattered, he would. If the goal mattered, you would. If your dreams matter, you will.
Yeah.
And so it's just choosing you.
Choose you, boo.
Yes, choose you. Choose that dream life, man.
Oh,
you're
honestly,
gonna be
dream big.
Yeah,
dream big. There's no other way to do it. Dream big.
You're gonna be a beginner, and you're gonna be at the bottom at first.
Just okay. Well, maybe you don't want to tell yourself this, but I would tell myself this if you're somewhat like me, because I'm just such a straightforward person. Even with myself, I'm like, I'm gonna suck because sometimes I realize I'm the type of person that if I'm not good at something immediately, you're going to shut it off.
Yes.
Yeah. So then there's also that where it's like you think that, oh, well, I have to be an expert right when I start.
Exactly.
Which makes zero sense.
I better have 1,000 followers by day 2.
Exactly. And it makes
so unrealistic.
Sense. It makes no sense. And it comes from us just subconsciously comparing ourselves.
And being so down on ourselves. Why are we so mean?
We're very mean. We can be very mean to ourselves.
Give yourself a break.
Give your mind a break to wander, dream a little bit, and just recuperate the energy to do those 5 seconds to take that first action. So honestly, that kind of wraps up my point with the 5-second rule. I mean, I've really spilled out my heart and my guts here.
Yeah, just take the first step, and whatever your goal is,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then launch yourself into whatever it is you need to do.
Just look up a link, bro.
Yeah.
Look up a link. How to start a podcast.
Even if it's something easy, like even if it's not, completely make a new business or whatever. Even if it's just like, I need a new job.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even if it's, I need new friend circle.
Yeah.
I need to get out of this relationship. Like, you can literally apply it to anything.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. It's anything.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that bitch.
Yeah. And it can be the smallest thing. Write something down. We want to get into food for thought as well.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Okay. So I am a little bit out of my element on this food for thought. I'm not like, I know somewhat of the case, but like I've been trying to take a break from like just bad news I hear.
Yeah.
I just like try not to like dive into it a bit.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a little hiatus from bad news.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's, not that we like to leave out on bad notes.
Yeah.
It's just a mysterious note. I'll say that. Like, it is sad,
note.
but it's very mysterious and weird and crazy. And I know most of you have heard of this case. And also, before I even get into it, by the way, if you're new here and you've been listening and you're still here with us, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And Food for Thought is a segment that we have where we dive into topics that have nothing to do with what we just discussed.
Just random.
It's random brain gunk and
just
controversial
topics,
and random stuff.
We like to talk about.
Yeah. So just letting you know that. It's off course.
Yeah. It's totally off course.
It's our segment that's meant to be off course. So anyway, what we wanted to talk about in today's Food for Thought in the last few minutes is the Gabby Petito case.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So this is what I know.
Okay.
They found her body. That was the first time I heard of the case, was that they found her body. And that's all I got.
Oh, God.
That's all I know.
No way. Oh,
Yeah.
This is, okay. Wow.
Fill me in.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to try my best here. So, they're van lifers, okay? So, they redid Gabby's van.
Mm-hmm.
It was her van. They redid the whole interior to be beautiful and nice and comfy for their long road trip across America. I think the last place they were was like in Wyoming or something.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going to these parks, posting on Instagram, whatever. She even had a YouTube channel. She posted one video, and that was the one video that she had before all this happened.
What are the odds?
Yeah, so she was barely starting, and God, kudos to her for starting.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to her for going for her freaking dreams. Like, what a beautiful soul.
Mm-hmm.
Now, her goal was to record this trip, post more on her YouTube channel, start a blog, all that stuff. So she had all that planned.
Mm-hmm.
And what was brought up to the police, well, let me just start, I guess, from the fact that Brian, her fiance, he was her fiance.
Okay.
Brian Laundrie came back just randomly without Gabby
That's weird.
to his parents' house where I guess she was staying. Now, Gabby was in contact with her family every day on these trips. Every day on these trips. And when they didn't hear from her, they started getting concerned. And they were trying to call her, nothing. Like, no response. She wasn't calling her parents. Nothing. Brian comes back all the way back from, I guess, like I said, I think Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Without her. And the first thing he does is get a lawyer and shuts his mouth.
What?
He doesn't say a word to Gabby's parents. We don't know if he's spoken to his parents at all about this, which I'm assuming he has because they seem to be protecting him in this whole thing because they haven't said a word about anything. So she was missing, and of course the parents immediately, I think it was like after a week or so, they started getting like hit in the news, all that stuff. And once the news started getting out, there was a report that there was a domestic thing happening that got reported while on their road trip by a witness.
Oh, shit.
So this witness was saying, like, I don't know, they seem to be fighting. He's, like, slapping her, he's whatever. And so it was physical. And he reported this. The cops stopped them while they were on the road. They were in shambles. Like, she was crying. But in this situation, and it's so weird. If you can look it up, guys. It's on YouTube. And it's, like, heartbreaking. But, yeah, Gabby's coming out. She's crying, and we're seeing everything from the cop cam.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian is just, like, weirdly calm. And she's the one freaking out and stuff. And then people in the comments were like, this seems like a really abusive relationship where she's blaming herself when really it's Brian who's kind of putting stuff in her head.
Oh, man.
Gabby had mentioned, he doesn't believe I can do any of this. Like, as in, like, start a blog and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't believe in her. And she said that while she was crying and stuff, and that they were fighting, they were having a rough morning. And that's the only footage they have of them. That's the last piece of footage they ever had of them. And the last piece of footage of Gabby alive.
Weird.
Sadly. And so the sad thing is that the cops figured she was the assaulter because he had scratches on his face.
Oh,
but
man.
she might have just been defending herself and blaming herself for him, mentally messing her up.
Right.
And being like, oh, well, it must be my fault. Like Gabby saying that.
Mm-hmm.
So usually the cop would have separated them, put her into jail if she was the assaulter, and the parents would have probably come and picked her up, right? In this situation, they let her off the hook and said, you know what, I think they spent one night apart, and then they were able to go free. And that was the worst decision ever, because then look what happened.
What?
So, well, I mean...
Oh, so they did spend one night apart.
I think they spent one night apart, if my facts are correct.
Okay.
They might have spent one night apart, like in a hotel or in a different hotel. And they were let free, though. They were let free, and then it was like a few days later that they started like not hearing back from her, and that's at that point she was missing. So from that point to them, they were already in a bad position. Like their relationship seemed to be super abusive and weird and just a little bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came back, like I said, Brian said nothing. The only reason why they found Gabby's body is because a YouTuber was camping in the same area that Brian had left the van, I guess.
What
where their van
are
was.
the chances?
I know. It's so weird. And so these YouTubers had this little clip of footage that was them passing by their white van. And they sent that to the FBI. And it just so happens that that same park, that same area, yards away, like almost a straight shot from where the van was parked, that's where they found her body.
What?
Yeah. So it was like, I mean, it was yards away, but it was like a almost direct shot from where their van was last seen. So the only assumption we have is that Brian killed her and like tried to bury her. We don't know if she was buried or if she was just left out. But he didn't say a word. Who does that if you're a normal person who didn't do anything wrong?
Okay, I have a question. So he just... Okay, so...
Yeah.
So do we think that he murdered her?
In my opinion, yes. Because...
Wait, so he just did it, like, right there next to someone who was filming? Because what are the odds that he's just, like, right there in that same area? Or he came back to it and happened to have been in the same...
he might have gone... I mean, because those forests are huge. Like, that camping area was ginormous. And where they found her was yards and yards and yards away from that van. But it was in the same area.
That's weird.
So it was probably that day that they took that footage, or the day after, where he had probably, assuming it was him...
Yeah.
Buried her over there, like, way out there. Probably took her at night. Something happened. I'm thinking they were in a fight. He got so triggered that he just did the unspeakable, the unforgivable, and killed her.
Do we know...
And saw red, Maybe he didn't even realize what he was doing. He was, like, so crazy that he didn't realize, and he was like, oh, shit, what do I do? And just did away with her body. Because who the hell comes back without their fiancé and doesn't say shit? Like, if you were actually concerned that she ran off, hurt herself, or got eaten by bears or something, or was out in the wilderness by herself, the first thing you would do is call the police, call the parents, notify people that, hey, I don't know where Gabby is. I don't know what happened to her. Or, oh my God, she's in trouble right now. None of that from him. Silence.
And
he got a lawyer.
Do we know where he's at?
They're on the search for Brian as we speak.
What do you mean? So he got a lawyer and, like, ditched town?
Disappeared. Yeah. He's gone. Like, no one knows where he is. And it's weird and creepy because he's so used to being out in the wilderness. He can survive out there, apparently, for, like, over a month in the wilderness. He could be out there just chilling, camping. The FBI, there's this huge search for him, and no one has found him yet.
That's weird.
And it's like, oh, come on, how is this loser, like, outsmarting everybody? Like, I really hope they find him. And I'm glad that they were able to bring Gabby home. Like, they had her funeral and stuff. They live streamed it.
Wow.
Yeah, which was, like, super brave of the parents. Like, what? That's crazy.
And so I have a quick question. Another one. Okay, so they didn't have... Okay, let me backtrack really quick so I can think of my question. When they found her body, have they released anything that says, like, if she had strangle marks, if she was shot, if she has stab wounds?
Oh, okay. So the autopsy did say that it was a homicide, but they don't know how.
What?
Which I don't know. I don't understand that. Because it's like, how do you do an autopsy, assume... or get the results that it was a homicide, but you don't know how. I don't actually understand how that
Poison
would work. True. That's interesting. I didn't really think about poison.
Mm-hmm.
He just seemed off, man. Like, if you look at that cop cam footage, or even in their YouTube video, he just seems weird. Do you know that case about, oh my god, Chris Watts? Oh, that guy who's just looked like a normal American guy, killed his whole family.
Killed his whole family?
Yeah. Shanann Watts, his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Had you ever heard of that? I'm not going to, like, go deep into it right now.
Okay.
But I'm just going to give an overview. Like, it reminded me of Chris Watts. Because this Chris Watts dude had the same sort of energy. He was, like...
This was, like, a couple years ago, or, like...
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, he had killed his family, 2 little girls and wife, who was pregnant, by the way.
Oh, my God.
He had murdered them and was like, oh, I don't know where they are. Like,
oh, he reported it, right? I think I remember this.
Yeah, I think he's the one that reported it. Or her friend noticed first that, oh, Shanann didn't, like, his wife didn't message me today or something.
Yeah.
And he seemed the least concerned out of everybody. And the neighbor caught onto it, which shout out to that neighbor. If you all know what case I'm talking about, and you've seen that footage, the neighbor was such a badass. He literally was watching the footage of Chris Watts in the distance. You couldn't tell what he was doing for sure, but it was like at 3 a.m. He was loading something up in his truck.
Oh, wow.
The bodies.
Sus.
Yeah, and the neighbor was, like, looking at Chris the whole time while the cops were there. It was on the cop cam. He was, like, super suspicious of Chris, like, you're acting all nervous. Like, he was super nervous, super, like, awkward looking. And then a few days later, they realized, like...
It was him.
Yeah, or I don't know how long it took, actually. He admitted, finally, it wasn't days, but he finally admitted that it was him that did it. He created so many stories...
That is wild.
And it got him to, oh, God.
I hope this guy's found, regardless.
Dude, Brian Laundrie has been pissing me off all fucking week. Because
I'm fucking stressed.
Because this case is so stressful without him just saying what happened.
Yeah.
If you killed her, why?
Yeah.
Like, what was so bad?
I mean, obviously, something was bad, that he can't say anything because he's...
That's
going to admit guilt.
It's like he's literally guilty. Like, how can you not be guilty coming back with a lawyer?
But he has a lawyer. I mean...
Yeah. He got a lawyer.
And then went missing.
And went missing.
Why did he go missing if he got a lawyer? Like, isn't that what a lawyer's for? Like, they're going to keep you out of shit?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he seems to have no logic. And especially if he killed somebody, I guess. He's probably out of his mind even more. Mm-hmm. I just can't. I can't. And I hope it doesn't go cold. And I hope they, like, actually find him. They have to find him.
I hope they find him.
How long do you think it'll take to find him? Like, give an estimation.
So where is he from? Like, where? Oh, California?
Oh, crap. I don't know where the hometown is.
Oh.
Ooh, I forgot if it's Florida. I forgot. But, yeah, he was living with his parents. And I guess Gabby was living with him, too. And his parents are fucked up, too, because they didn't contact Gabby's parents at all. Either. They were in on it, too. They were also silent when Brian came back and probably admitted that he did something really bad. Because he lawyered up and didn't speak to Gabby's parents and didn't give her any clues. I mean, the parents, nothing. No info.
That is really hard.
That's
really scary.
And one of the weirdest cases I've heard in a while, I guess. I mean, I don't really look up these cases, but, like, in terms of the ones that go viral and stuff, it's really weird.
Can you imagine being a parent of maybe a murder? I mean, just in general, like, imagine, like, you find out, like, your kid murdered someone, even if it, like, I'm just in general.
That's the thing.
That's
like,
crazy.
It is. And it's like murderers can come out of nowhere. Like, you can be the perfect parent. But if your child has something wrong with, you know, their brain, or maybe something happened to them that made them that way, bullies and, like, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So many external factors that could go into it. But also something in the genes as well. That maybe you don't know you had some ancestor fucking serial killer back in the day.
You never know.
You never know. So, oh my God. It's just a crazy case.
Yeah, man.
And I hope we get updates. And I hope the next time we have this podcast that they've freaking found Brian. Find Brian.
Find Brian. Hashtag find Brian.
Hashtag find Brian. Yeah, so...
For Bri sanity, if anything. No,
God,
just
so
obviously
let us know. Yeah, let us know, guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know.
Let us.
Let us. I like lettuce.
All your questions.
Yeah. Let us know what you think might happen to Brian. Do you think he's going to die out in the wilderness? Do you think they're going to find him? Or do you think he's just going to go
Gotta be
free
guilty.
for months?
Gotta be guilty.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you think he can survive out there for like multiple months? Or more than 2 months maybe? Without being found?
I mean,
think he'll die out there and be
we're
fine with
assuming
it?
that he didn't already go to Mexico. We don't even know.
I know.
He could be living in a whole other country right now.
Yeah.
He's missing.
That was just one last point is his parents could have led the cops in the completely opposite direction. Because they asked him, well, where'd he go? Because the parents reported him missing. And if they're protecting Brian, then they definitely told the cops to go the opposite way of where Brian went.
Oh, maybe they reported him missing, but he's actually in the basement.
Oh, I know. I thought that too. I was like, what if he's just somewhere in the house? You know? Oh, it's such a weird case. But yeah, I hope we get updates soon because it's bothering me so much. And rest in peace.
Family.
Rest in peace, Gabby Petito.
Yes.
Like she seemed like such a nice, sweet person, and she was going for her dreams. And
gone too soon
so
for
sad.
sure. That's sad.
Yeah,
man.
I think if you all want to like see her YouTube video that she did do the work and post, it's called, I think their YouTube channel was Nomadic Static. So yeah, so you'll have some reference onto who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, and thoughts go out to the family.
For sure.
And if thoughts go out to anyone actually experiencing any missing family members, you don't really think about how often this happens.
Right.
This case went viral, but so many missing cases happening every single day. So my thoughts go out to everybody if you're actually going through this too. So those are my final thoughts. That was our final food for thought. Do you want to leave off on anything, girly?
No. I feel like that's a good place to wrap it up. Guys, if you are listening, you don't yet follow us. We are on Instagram, the Gspot_podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll leave these links in the description. Follow me on my socials, Briannicus G, everywhere. So I'll leave that in the description as well. And thank you guys for listening. We love y'all.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Send us your questions, and we will talk to you next Wednesday.
Till next time.
Bye, guys.